Hello, everyone. I am going to be talking about the severe weather threat for the North Carolina coast, South Carolina coast, and sort of inland toward the central parts of the states. Sunday looks to be pretty interesting in a few different ways. I believe this is going to be mainly a full linear event here. So with damaging winds being the main threat, and we can see we have a 15% risk for from the Florida Panhandle all the way up to northern Pennsylvania, where the risk of damaging winds and some isolated tornadoes, especially in the southern portions of this 15% risk. Um, this is directly from the weather system that will impact the Midwest Friday, and then the deep south into the Ohio, Tennessee Valley Saturday. First, I want to just look at the um, upper level wind maps here. 500 millibar, and we can see our main system off the coast of California. This is what's going to bring initially, especially on Friday. This is what's going to bring that severe weather um, in the Midwest. So keep an eye on that. But this right here is a little shortwave here. This is going to bring some severe weather across Alabama, parts of Georgia and Florida this afternoon. Um, this little shortwave here has trended weaker, um, with winds only about 70 knots, where a few days ago the winds were um, around 80, 85 with the shortwave at one point. But as that has weakened the last few days, we think a lot more moisture will be able to be returned and drawn northward for Friday's event and into Saturday's event as well. So that's something to watch. But as that shortwave moves, um, probably zoom in a little bit. If as that shortwave moves off to the east, it'll weaken, and then here's our Friday's severe weather maker, um, going under cyclogenesis there once it exits out of the southern Rocky Mountains there, and it just rapidly strengthens as it reaches the plains, moves northeastward. Um, and then you can see by this is Friday evening. By Friday evening, we can see a very impressive exit region here on this trough here. It's negatively tilted, so it's oriented southeastern northwest. But what's importantly behind it, um, we can see this kind of phase into. So as that initial sort of trough moves in, we can see this kind of phase happen. We can see a bigger, a broader, a big and broader trough here, and it phases into this massive, massive trough here, and this is what's going to impact the region Saturday into Mississippi, Alabama, of strong but violent tornadoes possible, and this is what's going to move into the region in the Ohio Valley, and then into our region by Sunday afternoon and evening. So this is Friday's system here, and then this is going to be this massive deepening here is what's going to cause Saturday's and Sunday's event. So it's a very sort of a complex setup here. It's a very dynamically heavy um system. So you can kind of see how it the phases here happen. It's just very strong winds out of this exit region of approaching 120 knots. That is pretty good winds, especially along the base and towards the exit region. So here is the euro. I'm going to just kind of compare and contrast this real quick. So you see that short wave, it's moving off to the east. We see Friday's system pretty similar in location and strength, and then we have our deepening. Um, the euro seems to me it's about the same, maybe a little. Once it hits those Appalachian Mountains, it could you see that those winds increase, but relatively the same. Not many differences between the two, which is a really good sign. So for Sunday's event, there's a few things that are kind of question marks. Cloud cover, early morning convection, early morning rain, and cloud cover in the afternoon. Those two are the biggest question mark at this point because if we have either of those could help keep conditions more stabilized longer. Um, and if stuff does form or pop up, they won't be as strong. Or that when that main line of convection moves through, it may lose steam. But very interesting to pay attention to that and just um, as the model runs come in and current trends come in. But I think moisture-wise, we won't have a problem at all. I think moisture-wise, um, we're going to see an abundant amount of moisture, especially in the Carolinas. And I can zoom in here. Let me zoom in. Southeast here. Okay, so this is Saturday evening, and we can see dew points already in the low 60s across central South Carolina toward the coast, and southeastern North Carolina. We can see low 60s already. Some moisture already in place. And we can see our front's kind of in this general vicinity here, and we can see by 12 o'clock Sunday, our front is now in central um, South Carolina. And this is slightly worrisome because um, if the sun were able to come out across central South Carolina, central North Carolina, up north into the coastal regions, this is 12 o'clock, and it would take a few more hours for it to reach these locations. So um, this main line of storms would be approaching near top heat of the day, around 1, 2, 3 o'clock. So um, very interesting we'll have to pay attention because that line, if sun does come out and it destabilizes the atmosphere, we could see a increased wind threat and maybe even a increased tornado threat. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll see. But at this point, we can see our dew points in the mid 60s, all pretty much all the way up towards northern North Carolina and southern Virginia. We can see these mid 60 dew points. Um, Definitely good enough. In fact, even with the sun maybe not coming out, I think moisture-wise, this is enough to support, um, thunderstorm, um, to help support thunderstorms to maintain the strength or even strengthen more. and just how um, kinematically driven this system is. Um, I think even despite the clouds, if the clouds don't move out and the sun doesn't come out, I think we'll still have a pretty widespread um, wind damage threat across the area, especially an isolated tornado threat in Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina as well. But this is the Euro model. Let's look at the GFS just real quick, kind of see if it's showing the same sort of moisture returns into the area. So this is it's a Saturday evening. It's a little. I mean, we still have our low 60s into central South Carolina toward the coast, but it's not as far north as the Euro. Not as far north as the Euro. Um, as that main line approaches, you can see it here. It's had just passed Atlanta by 7 a.m. Sunday, according to the GFS, and as that line approaches by 1 o'clock, it's a little faster. The GFS is definitely faster, and that's usually a bias with the GFS. It's a lot more faster than the Euro. Um, but we see by 12, we can see this mid 60s up towards North Carolina. Um, Up towards North Carolina, and then by 3 o'clock, um, we can see some upper 60s trying to creep in. But yeah, they're relatively the same. The GFS is faster. It's not advecting that moist air as far north as the Euro. Um, not shocked at all. This is the NAM, so 12Z. It's still loading in as I'm making this. Kind of unfortunate, but just see if we can get a better. Just see if we can get an idea, more higher resolution here. We can see that shortwave right here. It'll be exiting off of the Florida coast today, and then we can see Friday's system here. It looks to be same sort of track, 100 knot winds at the 500 millibar level. It's pretty impressive for I mean, this tilt is crazy. I mean, it's essentially yeah, that's a very crazy negative like tilted trough right there. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see some wind gusts across Illinois Friday night be 80, 85 miles per hour easily. This is definitely a very kind of violent sort of looking trough here. I just don't like the look of that, and lots of severe weather potential um, across Illinois and Kentucky, Western Kentucky into Missouri. But yeah, the dam won't be in range, but we can see our deepening behind it as this moves northeast. We can see that deepening. Um, Strength-wise, it looks relatively same compared to Euro and GFS at this time, but this will be responsible for our severe weather into Sunday. Um, Look at the cloud cover from the GFS. I don't necessarily like looking at cloud cover on these long-range operational models. They're just very bad. I mean, they're just very bad. But we can get a general idea here of just cloud cover. So this is Saturday or Sunday morning, excuse me, and this is Sunday around 1 o'clock, and we can see GFS not budging, 100% cloud cover. But what this really tells me is there's a very good chance for clouds to be in the area. So um, definitely something to look at. Still a few days away. We probably won't know much about the cloud situation until tomorrow night, Saturday morning. So that'll have to just be kind of to be determined. But right now we can kind of just put a question mark on it and um, just kind of just see what happens as the event unfolds. So this is from the National Weather Service out of Wilmington, and just to kind of what just to show you a professional um, analysis of what may happen. Confidence remains low for severe weather Sunday. Um, this would be caused by the morning convection. Excuse me, I was reading on, but I believe this will be caused by the morning convection. Um, and depending on how fast that morning convection can race out is really depending on if the sun will be able to come out. If it's more 9, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., we may be able to get a few hours of sun in before that main line of convection arrives. It's just very, very big question mark on that. In that case, something they did mention that which is a very good thing they mentioned it. Um, Much of the instability analyzed in model soundings appear as low amplitude elevated cape in a dry mid-level. So um, that will be increasing our risk for lightning, um, and especially in any cells that do pop up ahead of this line. Um, could have some frequent lightning with these storms, definitely with that dry mid layer. But right, they really talk about the strong shear, the kinematics within the system that I had mentioned. Um, with this strong shear, it's going to be a lot harder for um, supercells to kind of organize and fully develop an updraft or or the cloud top essentially is what that is. So, really, a widespread wind event is going to be the immediate threat here, and they also mention here the best chance for severe weather appears to be east of I-95 and west of the immediate coast. In this area, stabilization would have a chance to occur before the convective mass reaches the area, and it could avoid the intrusion from the northbound marine layer, cause from the um, winds from the ocean moving inland. So very complex sort of setup Sunday. Um, for the Carolina coast area and inland. Main threat, damaging winds, 50 to 65 mile per hour as of now. Isolated tornadoes can't be ruled out, just especially how kinematically potent the system is, and a quick spin up is certainly not possible. I wouldn't bank on any like long tracked um, supercells like we may see Saturday across Alabama and Mississippi, eastern Mississippi. But maybe a quick spin up, certainly likely, not out of the question, especially in the southern portion of this 15% risk. But until we get more information, I'll probably have an update Saturday for this region. I will also have an update tomorrow for the Ohio Valley region. Um, Looks definitely more like a linear event for that area as well, and I will dig into that tomorrow morning and kind of update that area. But until then, I will catch you guys later. If you have any questions, let me know.